story time about the worst ever date I ever went on, and no, it wasn't with my stalker. It was actually a completely different person. If you can even believe that, like, my luck. Let's set the scene, okay? I'm young, I just got out of a relationship, and I'm trying to mingle, you know, get to know people. I had heard of this guy through, like, friends, and I thought he was cute through Instagram. Little did I know I got hatfished. Like, it was completely not cute when the hat was off. He messages me on Instagram as all amazing first dates happen, and he's like, hey babe, you're so cute, wanna go on a date? You guys know me. What did I do? I folded and I said yes. At this point, I wasn't completely over my ex, so I felt like everything was giving me the ick, and honestly, I was kind of nervous to go on this date because obviously you don't know what a person really looks like until you meet them. My little shallow ass was trying to get a grasp on if I was even gonna think he was cute in person or if I was gonna get the ick, so I literally asked him, how tall are you? And he was like, 6 foot. I'm like, period. So I finally decided to let this guy pick me up because I knew people he knew, and I felt like I was pretty positive that he wouldn't be an absolute weirdo. Boy, was I wrong. He comes to my house and I walk outside, and his car is really freaking nice, especially for our age. Like, I was shocked at how nice the car was. For me, this is a turn on not because I'm like a gold digger, but because I like to see that someone has like a work ethic and that they like take pride in the things that they have, whatever. Hop up in the car ready to be a little passenger princess, and I start talking to him. I'm like, hey. And like, he's nice, right? Like, he's chatting with me. We're having like a nice little cordial conversation, and then I look at the cup holder. There's just like a bottle of Henny on deck, and I'm not new to this. I'm from New York, so I know that like Henny is like a little clothing accessory for men out here, but like, I didn't think that was the vibe. At this point, I still didn't know where we were going on our date. He kind of made it like it was a surprise, so I asked. I'm like, where are we going? Where I'm from, there's this thing called a garbage plate, and a garbage plate is kind of like a mixture of a bunch of foods, and you go to garbage plate places when it's like late at night or when you're drunk, so he decides he wants a garbage plate, and I'm like, okay. Get to the garbage plate place, right? And he gets out of the car, and he comes to open my door. As you could have probably guessed, he was not 6 foot tall. He was shorter than me, and I was kind of like, red flag number 1, you lied about your height. Why? Why did you lie about it? The thing is like, I'm not against a short king. Like, I've been with shorter people and it's never really been a problem, but like, why lie? Why did you lie about it? Walk inside and we order our garbage plates, and then we sit down, and then he's like, oh, I have to run out to my car real quick. I'll be right back. And I'm like, okay, that's fine. He's gone outside for like 10 minutes, and I'm just texting my girlfriends like, yeah, this is probably not gonna work. Comes back inside and we eat our garbage plates, and then I'm just kind of like, I need an excuse to leave, so I'm like, oh, my mom wants me to come home, she needs help with something. Like, visibly disappointed and angry by this, and I'm just kind of like, oh my god, this is getting scary, like, please just take me home. We get in the car and we start driving back to my house, and I happen to look over at the Hennessy bottle, the formerly full Hennessy bottle, and it is now empty, like fully empty. And I'm just like, okay, I'm on a date with a fire-breathing dragon. How did he just drink all of that? And also, why is he risking my life? Literally gets so much worse. Go to part 2. Part 2 of the story time of the worst date I've ever been on. So it dawns on me that this man is literally driving with me in his car fully drunk. I do not condone drunk driving at all, and no one should. I think it's the grossest thing you can do. Like, we know me, I'm not the type to keep my mouth shut, so I start talking mad shit to him. Like, I'm not cool with this at all. Literally, like, pull over the car, like, I'm getting an Uber. I don't care where you park, but pull this car over and I'm getting an Uber. He does not let me out of his car. He does not stop the car. He just keeps driving towards my house, and I'm like, yo, this guy is fucking crazy. This time I lived pretty close to the garbage plate place we went to, so we got to my house within like 10 minutes. Thankfully, because I literally was so scared, thought we were going to die. When we get back to my house, I have him get out of the car, and I'm like, you're sobering up in my garage, like, I do not care. You're not driving drunk and risking other people's life on the road, or yours. Like, you're not doing that. I tell you, he starts hysterically crying on the top of his lungs, like fully hyperventilating, like like, get a grip, please. Starts telling me about the girlfriend he recently had that like cheated on him and left him, and how heartbroken he is, and I'm just like, I don't care, actually. I'm to sit down, and I take his keys, and I'm starting to realize like, this man is not going to sober up anytime soon. At this point, I'm ready to start hysterically crying because I'm like, you are not sleeping at my house, like, it's not happening. So I take his phone and I ask him what his password is, and he tells me it right away, and I'm like, okay, I'm calling your mother. So I start calling Mommy Dearest, and she is not answering the phone. I am blowing her phone up, like, come get your son. Finally, I realize this lady is not going to answer her phone. I'm calling him a cab. I'm not paying for it. He had cash in his pocket. He is paying for his own cab. So I leave my garage to go call the cab, and he walks out of my garage. He hears that I'm calling the cab, and he's completely offended. He starts trying to snatch his keys from me, like physically snatch his keys from me. He's like, I'm driving home. Like, I can just drive home. I finally get this guy to calm down. I'm like, you are not driving. Like, it's not gonna be on me if you or someone else dies, because I'm not letting you leave my house drunk. Time goes by of us waiting for the cab, and finally, Mommy Dearest wants to call him back. I tell her the whole situation. I let her know that there's a cab on the way, but he needs his car to get picked up. He says to me that she's on her way with his father, and they'll be there to get the car in 30 minutes. The cab gets there first, obviously, and I walk up to the cab driver, and I'm like, I am so sorry. I'm gonna tip you so well. Like, here's his cash. I literally prop this man up on my shoulder and put him up in the cab, and he tries to kiss me goodbye. I literally look him dead in the face and I just go, no. Mommy finally came to get the car and I never spoke to him again, but I did find out that he got into a drunk driving accident where he totaled that very nice car and went to jail. Luckily, no one was hurt. Let this be a warning tale that if someone says they're 6 foot, they're probably not, and if someone starts drinking on your date, get an Uber. This is a story time of the craziest thing that I decided I would do for money. I know we're always talking like, what would you do for money? What's the craziest thing you would do for money? Okay, well, here's the craziest thing I decided that I was literally going to do. So about 3 years ago, I was actually homeless. It was very much slay. It was a little bit of a lot for me, but I was sleeping on my sister's couch. As you can imagine, I was trying to figure out every way I could make money possible, like always just coming into new ways of making money. I was a photographer for some point. Obviously, I was a makeup artist. I was working job after job after job. Just wasn't cutting it because I had just totaled my car. I was newly homeless and I just moved back into the city that I had grown up in. And one day this girl that I knew ended up getting like a breast augmentation. We worked together. So I was like, where are you getting this money? My initial thought was like, oh, she has a sugar daddy, like whatever. But I didn't want to get into that. Many times as I had thought about it, I had heard of so many bad experiences. So I was like, I'm not getting into that. Like, no. I asked her, I'm like, hey girl, where did you get the money to get your breast augmentation? Like just asking for a friend. First she was reluctant to tell me and I'm like, bitch, share the wealth. Like, what do you mean? Finally, she tells me, she's like, oh, I sold my eggs and I got a bunch of money. I'm like, you can sell your eggs? Because I got a few of those. It didn't seem like it was such an easy, simple process that was like pain-free, like easy, got her money and went. I'm thinking like how men do it. Like they go in the room and they get it done. So I'm like, okay, give me the information. She gives me the information. And I'm like, set, I'm doing this, duh. She told me she got like $8,000. I was like, that's a lot of money for a girl like me. Yeah, I was excited. I was gonna do it. So that day I go home and I start doing all the sign up information, giving them all my information, telling them my whole life story basically. And they are asking personal questions. Like they want to know your life. They want to know how these people's babies are going to come out. Because that's what's happening. You're giving them your eggs so that they can give people babies, which is beautiful. That's amazing. For people that can't conceive, that's awesome. Asking me questions about depression, mental illness. I'm lying. Like, do you have OCD and depression? I'm like, no. And they want 10 pictures of you as a baby and you as an adult. I literally still have the album. Hold on. This is the album I put together for them of me being adorable and then me being hot and gorgeous and sexy. We're like feeding my ego a little bit. Like, yeah, like people are gonna want my eggs so bad. Like they're gonna see pictures of me as a kid and be like, she was so cute. We want that baby. Anyways, I still had no idea about the process and how it actually worked and like the fact that it was painful and you go on hormones and you could get really sick. One day I decided to tell my sister that I was like going through with this process and she's like, what is wrong with you? And I'm just like, Labe, you don't understand. Like, I need this money. I am so poor. I'm sleeping on your couch. Like, I need this money. My sister is basically just like, do you understand that there will be children of yours like just like wandering the earth? I hadn't even thought about how like in today's day and age, they could go on an app and find me or find their siblings. Like, I also had no idea about like the pain involved. It's like a big thing to do that. And I actually had my appointment booked and set. Like this was happening. I never ended up doing it. My sister talked me out of it, but I still get emails from the place being like, are you ready to go through with that? And I just went ghost. I was like, I don't want my babies out there.
Am I wrong for deciding not to attend a wedding? I feel like I'm eating crazy pills because the situation feels surreal, but it's actually happening. And I'd like a perspective on it. Real names change for privacy purposes. I've had a friend, Clara. Is it Clara or Clara? I'm gonna go Clara. I've had a friend, Clara, and we've been close since we met. She is struggling with some mental health issues, and I've always been there for her and helped her out where I can. We also share a lot of our personal lives and stories with each other. Early last year, I met a guy, let's call him Brad. Brad was quite alright, and we hit it off as we had a few common topics we shared. Making new friends was always a good thing, and I wanted to introduce him into my circle of friends too. Unfortunately, Brad and Clara got into an extremely heated argument. It was something completely dumb to me. Something about whether a gun would defend you if the attacker had a knife or sword, but had the element of surprise. It escalated so bad that they were calling each other terrible names, and I was shocked since I had never seen either of them act this way before. They parted on extremely bad terms despite my best attempt at brokering the peace. Over the next couple of days, I tried to talk to Clara and get them to make up, but she was adamant about the situation being final and even gave me an ultimatum. Either I break off all contact with him or she will break off contact with me. I gave her another 2 days to cool off, but there was no change. I valued her and knew her longer, so I reluctantly chose her. I was candid with Brad, explained the situation, that I had nothing against him. No, that is such a okay, that's a really bad manipulative friend. This reminds me of Love is Blind. She does this often when her mental state worsens and shuts herself in for some time. I sent a few messages to check on her well-being but didn't get a reply. This time was much longer than previously, but I thought nothing of it, having given her the option to come back whenever she was ready. 2 weeks ago, she returned after several months and announced her engagement to Brad. 2 weeks ago, she returned after several months and announced her engagement to Brad, then invited me to her wedding. After getting over my shock, I asked her why they were together. She said he was there for her when he went through a tough time and he was her world. Ugh, shady friend, I hate this so much. I turned down her invitation and said I would not like to attend. She got upset and said that I should put my differences with him aside. I said I had no differences with him, it was her I had an issue with. She told me to cut him out, then went and got engaged to him. I feel like I was made to be the fool. Since then, her friends have been hounding me, saying I should get over myself and stop being jealous, and that I was never in a relationship with Brad in the first place. I feel like this isn't about Brad at all, but everyone seems to disagree. So, am I the asshole for turning it down? Dude, no, you need to get yourself new friends. They are all trying to gaslight the shit out of you.